Yo, good evening, people. Welcome to my channel once again. This is your host, Dr. Richie Dameti, and today I'm delighted to have my guest, Dr.
Benya Lovi.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's a resident in General Surgery of Anachi. I'm pursuing fellowship in urology at the same institution. So today, Dr. Lovi?
Yes.
Lovi is going to give us talk about his life story from SS to uni days, med school. Also, for the whole purpose of inspiring up and coming doctors that it's possible. And if you listen to this story from a doctor himself, I mean, it's always inspiring. So, Dr. Lovi, take it away. Please tell us about yourself.
Okay. So, my name is Benya Lovi.
What's the meaning of Agbenya?
It means living word.
Living word.
Yes.
Okay.
Or the issues of life.
Okay.
I think the inspiration is from the Bible.
Okay.
Guard your heart, because out of it comes the issues of life. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, from my name, you can know that I'm an Ewe.
Okay.
Born to Navy officer called Maunya Lovi. My mom is Ernestine.
And then Lovi means?
You don't want to know.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll figure it out myself. Okay. All right.
Well, from what I've heard, it means hatchling.
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 Okay.
I like to think about it positively.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You know, so if you have a vision, a dream,
Okay.
yes,
Wow.
you have to incubate it and hatch it.
Oh, but that's interesting. Then you should share it more often.
Yes.
It's quite symbolic, man. All right.
Yeah, so I grew up in Adenta. I spent most of my life. I actually spent most of my time in Accra. That's where I went to school, primary school, secondary school, and even university. So you could see I'm a typical Accra boy. Yes. So I attended SS at Presec, Legon. Called Christian Gentlemen. Yes, so I was a chaplain in Presec.
All right. I can
What
understand.
we call, in those days we were called deacons. Yes.
Okay.
So chapel prefect. That's where my interest in medical education actually started. People used to come from abroad to talk to us during assemblies.
Okay.
Heard inspiring stories of some of the Brilla boys.
Is it you mean abroad like your old school?
Yes.
Oh, okay, guy. Okay.
Yes, it's the old boys.
Old boys,
come
yeah.
and tell stories of their feats outside. And during one session, one of them described some of his surgical exploits. So that's where the inspiration started.
That must be very powerful.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, very eye-opening. Actually,
We can take it for granted how words can really turn things around for a young person. Yes, and some of us we are inspired from within, others are inspired from without. But I mean, as a child, if you look up to a senior who has seen it before, has done it before, and you shape your life after the person, it really makes a lot of difference. And I think that's the trend should carry on, coming from your uncle. And that's exactly what you're trying to do here, to inspire people through sharing our experiences and then also our challenges. All right. So how was your life in SS? Your good times? You mean Persec Legon?
Yes, generally, I was a quiet type. Wouldn't mingle too much.
Okay.
Yes, and I was more religious.
Okay.
So that's how
which
come I
denomination?
became Presbyterian.
Presbyterian. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Perhaps that's what gave me the opportunity or won me the position. Yes. So I was more involved in Christian activities.
You didn't change after what? You didn't change. I know a lot of guys who were seminarians. I went to Pope John Secondary School. After completion, a lot of them didn't look anything close to what they purported to be in seminary. Somewhere on the road, on their way to becoming priests in training, whatever. It never worked out. They drink like everybody else, and that's how it turned out to be. So if you didn't change, that's great.
We thank God for that.
So you didn't have any of challenging times like scaling walls, going to steal stuff, pilfering, breaking boxes and stuff like that?
Oh no.
I was a day student. You were a brother.
Yes, first year I was a day student.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the boarding house from second year, and then we were the first batch to have written the WASI. Initially was the SSC.
Oh, okay.
So we spent just 2.5 years in school.
Oh, okay.
So virtually I had just 1 full year of boarding house.
Oh, okay. Wow. So who are your colleagues that you, let's say your schoolmates, classmates, how many of them did you get into med school with?
From my class, I had 2 classmates from H. My class was the toughest, I should say. Academically. I think. I'm sure other people
will have their
opinions. Yes, but in general, I could say about 20 people from my batch. Yes, we ended up in med school, Legon.
And others in diverse areas.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, the Legon is quite popular. I was in the Brilla group of 2007, 2008 or so, 2008, yeah. It was quite an experience being on Persec Legon campus, and the school is quite popular, and of course for good reasons. And we came there, and there's students from other areas, and socialized and had a good time. And it was quite interesting. I like the fact that they have still maintained standards all these years of proving themselves to be academically worthy and becoming, in fact, one of the important examples of good schools to attend. They were still maintaining their standards. The same cannot be said for my school, because we've not, especially among the old boys, we've not been too satisfied with some of the falling standards. And I think I just have to be objective about this, because we've been talking about it on our platforms and seeing how we can deal with it. And so, if you are still maintaining standards, I mean, there are so many benchmarks for measuring how you perform at SSC, how you rank, the SSC rank. I don't know, where do you rank now? I have no idea too, but I hope it's still getting well. But just please keep your head up.
Well, now the schools that weren't popular are now actually the top schools.
Because of the Mexico?
Yes. So guess the computerized system giving every child an opportunity is a step in the right direction.
But it's caused some dilution of academic performance in certain schools, whilst others were catching up.
That's how it seems, but on the whole,
generally good.
yes, generally. Now, when you watch now it's called the National Science and Maths Schools, you see that these guys from all these
you can't take anybody for granted.
You can't just take anyone.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's quite positive anyway. All right. So med school, how did it start for you?
Okay, so
while ago, not campus university.
Well, KNUST, I would say, is for the sharks.
Oh, really?
You needed to get at least 7 A's or 8 A's to get into KNUST.
Really?
So for those of us who fell a little short of aggregates, it's hard to.
Do you think a lot of your colleagues will agree with you? Because in Ghana, everybody ranks UGMS. Is it still called UGMS?
And it's now called University of Ghana School of Medicine and Dentistry.
Okay.
Yes.
Most people rank it as the premier med school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a premier.
It is.
In terms of it was the first, but is it still on top of this game?
I mean, there has been no fall in standard.
I see. Okay. So, your first experience on campus, was that your first day on campus, or you had been there sometime?
You know, for our system, it wasn't a straight
okay.
take.
You're
so
just by inclusion.
Yes, we had to justify our inclusion. So for the first semester, I fell short of my target.
Okay.
Yes, by a few points, because it was seriously competitive.
Having to deal with people from all.
Yes, and lab boys and all that. That system has been scrapped.
Oh, wow.
I think now they've adopted the KNUST. Yes.
We like to keep it simple, though.
Oh, but I mean, it's giving some of us the opportunity, you know, to also
to sort of pick up along the way.
Doctors. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been a doctor.
It's interesting.
Yes. So
that even reminds me. Actually, going to SS, I didn't make the grade that will really take me into science class straight up. I got 4 A's and 4 B's. So it came to, I got, those were 12 subjects, and I think I didn't get a 6. I got 8 ones.
okay.
But
Out
that
of
was
12.
Yes,
that was the.
that was it. But I think I didn't get a 6. It was an aggregate 8.
Okay.
So that's not 8 ones. No, that's not. Okay. So I came in with aggregate 8, and I was given arts. Sitting in arts class. Very sad. I just didn't know. I wasn't connecting.
The art guys.
All the art guys were, all over the place, happy and high-fiving, and I wasn't really communicating. I was just sitting quiet and looking at science class. 2 science classes, science 1, science 2. I'm just looking at it like that and wondering, oh God, when am I going to reach out and get? So I had to really go see the authorities and tell them that I want to be in science class, and that's what I really want to do. Fortunately, somebody was leaving for Achimota, so he left, and I had to just go fill that slot. That's how come I go into science class. Yeah. It's possible I would have been a doctor. I would have been a different, maybe a politician or something.
Allow me to
maybe
say
a loud one too.
It must have been divinely orchestrated.
Of course. Never know. Never know. So that's how it sort of panned out for me. Sometimes life takes a trajectory you can never predict, and that's how it all panned out for me. All right. So your first day in med school.
Yes, quite
Our first
story.
lecture.
The very first lecture was supposed to be an introductory lecture to anatomy, physiology, and then biochemistry. That's what we did the first semester. And believe me, it was like being dumped with
Tons of facts.
seriously introduced to words that I had never heard, terminology that I had never heard before, and into detail actually.
Yeah, medical school is humbling. No? It's a
Yes.
humbling experience. I'm telling you. You are doing history of Western medicine and stuff like that. You know, we don't do that. You still do it.
Seriously, I don't quite remember
Any of
that
that. Actually, still do it.
that lecture. Yes. So that lecture was handled by Reverend Professor IT.
Okay. What was your most difficult topic? Let's say, what was the most interesting topic for you?
In the whole of med school or
Let's say
first year?
preclinical.
Most interesting. Well, I enjoyed physiology because it dealt with the body systems and how things are organized and how they work.
It makes sense.
Yes, and the reason why things
Like the way they
work
work.
the way
Yeah.
they work, and that's an understanding of that actually is the basis for our medical practice.
Yeah.
So when there is abnormal physiology, then disease processes in.
Alright. I must agree with you, but I was finding it very difficult to remember everything physiology. It was difficult to. It's something that you need to read again and again, and the volume of material to read was quite a lot. Ganon physiology. We're not using Ganon.
Yes.
Ganon and Guyton.
Yeah.
Ganon physiology was so voluminous and quite tough to process. And you do know from where the question will come. They will tell you that we are going to have questions come out of cardio physiology and the counts, and it was tough. I mean, med school. My favorite topic was what? I don't know. Every topic had to, so it deserves some attention. You have to sit down, read, and and pass it like. And you have to salute every topic. That's how I sort of saw it. Did you do some funny topics like analytical chemistry, physical chemistry, organic chemistry?
That was during the Justify Your Inclusion.
Oh, really?
Yes.
First, it was part of our scoring thing.
Oh no, not for
I think
us.
analytical, maybe no, and some few other ones, but and then I think the physical chemistry.
I didn't like organic.
Physical chemistry, we learned what the shape of water and stuff of all those crazy things. Paracetamol structure, or organic chemistry, chloroquine structure and stuff like that. This periodic table, what belongs where, orbital levels of stuff, and this. I was wondering why all these things were being taught in that school, and to a detail that will blow your mind. And we're learning these things anyway. But some of them were non-scoring. So the scoring ones was when we actually came into the physiology, biochemistry, stuff like that.
Well, for me, our lecturers tried to make physiology as simple as it can get, with discussions, interactions.
Tutorials.
Yes.
We didn't have the benefit of tutorials. Yeah, I think we had the challenge of numbers. We had 2 physiology lecturers and very big class, about 115 or so. It was challenging. We didn't have demonstrators. We So one lecture, then afterwards you're on your own, trying to read and cram and on. It was terrible. Physiology is something when I understand it, it was pleasant. But you take your head off the pages, and then everything becomes a little bit fuzzy until you mess yourself into the book again and read. That's the challenge I was having with physiology. But it's quite interesting.
In my first year, histology was the most challenging.
Histology, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Where you have to read slides.
Yes.
And be able to identify body parts by the patterns of cells.
Okay.
On the slides. That was,
what was your first experience entering the anatomy dissection hall?
The first thing that hit me was the smell. Formalin, yes. My eyes were watery.
And the fact that dead bodies in these numbers
were lying on slabs.
And we are walking amongst them.
Yeah.
So you see the transition between life and death is like nothing. These people were not aware we were dissecting them, and oh, God bless them. How much information they got out of the offering to present themselves for us to learn. Because it was only through dissecting of dead bodies we could learn anatomy properly. Besides that, a lot of this was left to imagination. So dead bodies that we dissected, we thank you. But my first time I entered, I just got out. I had to sort of, it wasn't the official class hour. I went there on my own just to see what was going on. I just wanted to see whether I could, stomach the sight of all these dead bodies that were entered and came out. But then, when it was real time for action, we were all waiting. We were dissecting, and I remember the nights before the anatomy exam, the main exam that to make us progress to the clinical year. We were in the hall alone with all these bodies. So people talk about ghosts, being afraid of living near cemeteries and seeing the ghost of A and B walking in their room and stuff like that. We were with the dead bodies, with the bones. We're actually taking boxes of bones to the hall to learn and stuff like that. It's quite surreal. Yeah. Did you have any funny feeling, like fear?
Well, no. I mean, we had been briefed about what to expect, so I didn't have any.
Yeah. And for most people looking at children, young as we were playing around dead bodies, it must be quite surreal. And most our parents don't get to see these things.
No.
That we are here.
I'm sure they don't.
Yeah. And they would have been surprised because I don't think people handle dead bodies so well. Going to the mortuaries, those who have sort of taken one or two shots, and bold men, those are the ones that go to where the dead bodies are kept so that they are brought out. So not to think of dissecting them and all that. So anatomy was quite. We had an Indian anatomy lecturer, Mr. Ramaswamy. He's dead, and he donated his body to the department for purpose of teaching. He was good. He always wrote in capital letters. And, he taught anatomy quite well. He was very patient with us. But again, we didn't have a number. So just him and I think Professor Mr. Bedu, and occasionally I think Dr. Sabute was also passed. We had Legon had a lot of anatomy lecturers, and good ones.
Yes.
So always Legon had an edge when it came to anatomy. Yeah, they always had an edge.
On that I will agree. Yes, we had Professor Aite. But when I got there, when I was in school, we heard of Professor Engman, but we never got the opportunity to have him teach us. Yes, Professor Engman. And then the provost then, Professor Lawson. Yes. Then Mr. Argenti and some others, Mr. Educhu, quite a number.
All these were anatomists.
Yes, well, anatomists. not to forget Prof. Adai.
That himself.
Yes, he's more of an embryologist.
He taught me embryology in MPhil anatomy. And he's still as sharp, very good, very mature, very creative the way he teaches it. Yeah. So med school, did you attend med school dinner? Did you have things like that?
Yes, was on occasions.
Okay. My whole 7 years, I never attended one.
You must have been very.
I had my own funny reasons, but med school dinner I didn't attend. It was that's not fun stuff. Funny, one or two things. You know. But you attended. That was 7.
Yes.
Did you attend 7 years or 6 years?
I would say it will be 6 years and a few months. You know, we usually graduate we used to graduate about
Later
6
than-
months later.
I did 7 years straight, you know. And, I never liked doing 7 years in med school. Now it's 6 years, I think it's good. Yeah. So I'm sure they've sort of taken out some irrelevant courses. So it's now 6 years, and that's good. And who want to live his whole life in med school? This is some way. Anyway. So I was very much interested in outreach, medical outreach, organized by churches, individual organizations, and that's where my passion actually was. So medical outreach, go to remote areas, and then SMS week, health outreach, I was always in there. Always I wanted to go.
Okay.
I like to play the doctor bits, you know, with the slightest opportunity I got. Were you into any social activity apart from church? I'm sure church was number 1. 2?
Yes, church. 2. We used to play with play soccer.
Okay.
We had a place called Tokum,
Okay. Alright.
into which the boys would descend.
Oh, really?
And well, no, I mean it's
You
just
mean-
called Tokum. It's not.
Oh, okay. It's like a valley, or?
It's at the back of the hostel.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I don't know why they
Oh,
came with
okay.
the name. Up with the name Tokum. We used to play football after the classes. That was more of my social activities.
Oh, okay. That was great. Straightforward. And did you have any altercations, confrontations, misunderstandings?
Well, it wasn't allowed, but I remember one occasion, the boys there.
That's cool.
Yes, in that school. It wasn't a serious altercation, but it was. I think a colleague had been accused of taking someone's laptop.
I'm serious.
Yes, feeling all geared up to defend it. I confronted some of the boys
He
who
was
were
your friend?
seniors. I mean, my classmate was the one being accused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in a bit to defend him, trying to defend him, I confronted one of his accusers.
But you
who
all
was a
classmates?
senior. No, those who were accusing were seniors
But in med school?
in my school.
Oh, okay.
And then I had to be, drawn out.
Oh, but you
away.
didn't throw?
No,
Oh, okay. But it was resolved amicably.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So, Legon, the time that you were going for your final exams, okay, can you briefly describe the experiences that you went through, especially maybe if you remember any particular exam, and maybe if it's made such a huge imprint on your mind that you might not forget? Med school, final exams.
Med school final exams. Well, med school final exams is actually a series of exams. We write about three subjects: community health, internal medicine, and general surgery in final year. That's the final part 2 exam. So community health wasn't much of a problem. It's the clinical aspect of surgery and medicine that is the challenging.
Now I have to pay attention.
Yes. And then that's where people, the big professors
They send them.
would,
Groom
in
you.
their suits.
Yeah.
In their suits, some come from outside the external examiners, people you've never met, of whom you've heard stories. Yes. So you would have to be your sharpest, and that's where the
What are some of the big names? The professors?
You hear of Adi?
Prof. Adi.
Of Adi.
Yeah.
We call him Adi, Adima, or Adi for
Where?
short. Oh, he is internal medicine at Kolebu.
Professor Mrs. Adi.
No,
Prof.
Prof.
Adi.
Adi.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Prof. Adi. Internal medicine.
Internal medicine.
Oh, okay.
And then for general surgery, the renowned Prof. Champon.
Okay.
Prof. Bedu was alive then.
That was a familiar environment. These were people you were used to.
Yes, yes.
Okay. How about the external examiners?
I didn't have the opportunity. I didn't get the opportunity to meet any external examiner, thank God.
Okay, what about medicine? Did you meet any external?
No. I didn't meet any external examiner. Some of my colleagues did.
Oh man, what's his name? I don't want to use anything directly. Okay, if I remember, I'll tell you. You have one internal medicine.
No, Paris.
Osem. You need me to Osem.
I didn't.
How about income?
No.
But did you hear?
Yes,
Stand up.
No, I'm not really. I think I heard of a Paris.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. But was he like somebody a lot of you were dreading to meet?
Yes. He was like Prof. Adi.
Okay.
Meeting Prof. Adi
Was no joke.